You're listening to Tomb Raiders, a gem of a podcast. We talk about art, creativity, entertainment, and many other topics. Hosted by Mike Lopez and Lalo Guerra.
Welcome everybody to episode 9 of Tomb Raiders podcast. Hey Eduardo, what's up? How are you?
Very well, Mike. Still sad because Vicente Rojo, a great visual artist and a graphic designer, died here in Mexico at the age of 89. But I'm ready and happy as always in this Tomb Raider adventure, my friend. Happy to be here.
I'm glad, man. I'm glad. So before I start, I'm just gonna tell you that we have a very, very special guest. This is episode 9, Tomb Raiders podcast. And this is gonna be so amazing. I'm very excited because I recently met her and we've been talking a little bit. And it's time to roll out the red carpet for our special guest, Elisa Annette. Welcome to the show, Elisa.
Hi, thank you. Thank you for having me.
How are you?
I'm well. I am well.
Awesome. So, Elisa, she's an American stage, film, and voice actress who has done work with Funimation Entertainment. And if you're not familiar with Funimation, it's all about manga and anime, especially anime. So this is great for our podcast and for you guys that are listening. If you like manga and anime, I'm just gonna mention some of the characters that she performs with her voice. So she's Sheepdog Ace Attorney from Songs Collection Isabel. From Castletown Dandelion, she's done many voices, as well as Fairy Tail, Katana Maidens, Toji no Miko, Minato Fujiwara. There's a very specific one that I love and I think you also like. She's from Kemono Friends and she's the North American Beaver, right?
Yes.
I don't know, for some reason I'm like, oh, this should be one of her more fun to dub, I guess.
Yeah,
right?
that one was fun. She was hilarious. I loved her.
That's awesome. And there's so many more. If you want to talk a little bit about the other characters, because the list is big, and you also do a lot of not only voices, you actually are an actor, and tell us a little bit about it.
So I'm also a film and TV actor.
Awesome.
Yeah, so it's interesting. I have, I would say recent being like 10 years maybe, have come back into acting. Before that, I was a stage manager, but before that, I was also an actor. So coming back into film acting and TV acting has felt like coming back home in a sense. But now with all this other life experience that I can use and help express what the writers and what the directors are wanting to have seen on stage and on screen.
So, Elisa, what sparked your career as a voice actress?
Let's see. I had a lot of energy when I was a kid, so I was always bouncing up the walls and had a lot of imagination. I still have a very, very active imagination, but especially when I was a little kid, I just would go into my own sort of little world, but invite everybody else to come with me. Like, I remember when I was in maybe first or second grade, something like that. There was a jungle gym outside of the school that I was at. It was like a Catholic school. And so there was this jungle gym, and for whatever reason, we decided to play pirate ship. And I was one of the pirates, but we made pretend that the ground was lava and that if you touched the ground, you turn into a zombie. So
cool.
I somehow I made up these rules just on the fly, and I got the teachers who were nuns. I got them involved. So it's like, okay, yeah, I can do this. Let's play around with this. And so it's just this beautiful sense of play. And I remember when I was, third grade, we did a play, kind of like Wizard of Oz meets Christmas. And I was a poinsettia. But darn it, I was the best poinsettia there ever was. And I just loved being up there and seeing the lights and everybody in costume and people being just different and big and crazy and just expressive. And so I just got hooked with that. And crossing like a threshold of what is the now or the reality, and crossing that threshold into Neverland or to Pirates of the Caribbean or something else, and just having fun with that. And so now even today, it's like, it's all about imagination for me. I picture, if it's not in front of me, I still picture it. So that way then I'm involved in that world. So, yeah.
That's awesome. By the way, did you write or do you draw or any other type of
So I do sort of draw. I don't really call it drawing. It's more of like finger painting in a sense, where it's I'll take like oil pastels, like they're
nice.
And so I'll take those and then just start smudging around with those, usually on a black piece of paper where it's like light coming out of black. And so just I'll play around with that. I do write some. I have been known to write scenes for acting classes because sometimes I'll find something's like, this is boring for me, I need something else, and so I will just write something and perform it in acting class and then expand upon it maybe a little bit more.
That's great. And I ask because I know that there's some actress or actors that just they don't like to just perform, they like to add a little bit more to the character that they are performing, and intensity. And I don't know, like an example, Harrison Ford, when he did the I Know in Empire Strikes Back, right? That wasn't in the script, and that became like like wow, no, it was like amazing.
Oh yeah.
You know, I love you, I know.
It is like the perfect moment, and it's so true of Han Solo.
Exactly. So we're geeking out now. So anyway, so it's just that because I like to ask that, and I'm glad that you mentioned that it all started when you were super young, and I think that's the way it should be. You need to keep that same energy all the time. You know, that's amazing.
Yeah, when I was in college, I had a professor, he would give us quotes of the day in our play analysis class. And one of the things he said that I remember to this day, and I hold it very close to my heart, is that life is similar to a box of crayons, not a box of chocolates, but a box of crayons. And that when you come into this world, you have the big Crayola box of crayons, just all the colors imaginable. Speak, Elisa. So, and with the pencil sharpener in the back, you know, and you have this beautiful box with all these different colors. And in life, you end up using all these colors. But if you're not careful and you don't replenish your box, you are left with used like a nub of a gray crayon without the wrapper, half of a black crayon, and a very muddied white crayon. And that's it.
Wow, that's a great analogy.
So our job as artists is to constantly replenish that box of crayons, but not to hoard it, but to use it to express with.
Very nice. I love that.
When I got out of college, I had gotten my degree for a BFA in theater, so performance directing track. But when I got out of college, I actually went to Milwaukee Repertory Theater as an apprentice for stage management, completely different from acting. So I just fell into the stage management thing because I had a relationship with the people in charge there, and they said, we really like you. We want you to come back. And so I said, okay. So I gave stage
Nice.
management a shot, and for about 10 plus years, I was a stage manager, professional stage manager in theater and opera. And I remember whenever I was doing calls to the artists, to the maestros, to the designers, even paging calls over the paging system, headset calls over the headset, I would always get back, you have a really good voice. You need to be doing something with that. And there was even a guy when it was
Nice.
New Year's Eve, 1999, I think it was. No, wait, I take that back. Not 1999. It was New Year's Eve, 2007. Yeah. Okay. So more recent. It was, if you call that recent. So New Year's Eve, 2007, the car that I had at the time had broken down, and this tow truck driver, we were talking, and he was driving me to Music Hall where Dallas Opera was used to perform, and we had a tech that night, and I needed to be there. So he dropped me off at Music Hall, and he looked at me and he goes, you need to do something with your voice. And I said, what do you mean? And he said, you either need to be speaking, teaching, or singing. And I said, okay, I will take that to heart. And that just stuck with me. And I just thought, you know what? A lot of people have been saying I need to do more with my voice. And with speaking, teaching, or singing. And so I thought, well, let's try the speaking stuff. And so I had made some friends who are into voice acting. They're like, oh yeah, you would be great at it. The way that you talk about the opera singers, of course. and so they just kind of left that bug in my ear. And it wasn't until maybe 2010 or 2011 where I finally got up the courage to go, you know what, I'm going to audition. So that's when I started auditioning more for voiceover stuff, and that's when I got into Funimation. And it was just play. It was the characters that they had me audition for were such big life characters, such huge personalities. Like, yes, I can play with this. If they don't like it, they can just say, you know what, tone it down a bit. I'm just going to play. And so I just went in there just playing around. And they're like, we love this. You've never done this before? And I went, no. Not with the time codes and stuff. No. Maybe in the car, sure. With Lion King in the background, yes.
Right. Which, by the way, Lion King, that was based on an anime cartoon. It was like it's a white lion, actually.
Really?
I love Disney. Oh yes, I'll tell you a little bit about it when we finish.
Okay.
But it has a very specific name about that lion, but it's a white lion, and it was done in the 80s. So
love
Disney
it.
took that. Yeah. Oh yeah, we can be talking here for 2 hours.
Okay.
Yeah. So anyway, sorry to interrupt you.
No, but that's how I just got into that. I mean, I've always loved musical theater. And so a lot of the characters had a lot of the similar characteristics of those that you would find in musical theater. And so I just embraced that and just played with it. Now a lot of voiceover has become more naturalistic and more like film. So they'll even request that specifically in some of the audition sites. Like, we don't want anything over the top. We want things very natural, very conversational. Right. So things are changing. They're still keeping some of the over the top theatrical stuff, but now they're becoming more specific with what it is that they're asking for.
And that led me to something that I'm thinking, like, once you're there, like making the voices of these
Mm-hmm.
characters, who is the director? It has to be somebody from Japan, or how do you get that intention to the characters?
So what happens in the recording studio is that we do see the Japanese version first, what they call the J version. We'll see the J, and that'll be on one screen, and then on another screen side by side will be the text, the dialogue, and it'll be in the English with the time code, with whatever the reactions are. Because they want the output really, really fast as far as production goes. So we see the J, we match the feeling of the J, because usually the J is already produced. So it already has all the music and sound effects and how they want it. So then we just go in and we match the feeling with the music, do our best to match the expressions of the characters, the inflections. And the director, the ADR director, they're geniuses, as well as the engineers. They're absolute geniuses because they've been in it for so long. They'll say, no, we want a different color for this word because of this, that, and the other thing. And they will help fine tune so they can get the best performance.
Excellent. That's nice. I've heard about that, but I'm asking for, for the audience to know how it works, because maybe some of them are like, okay, how do they do it? Because it sounds so similar, right? And then it has to be a certain intention whenever there's action or wherever there's sadness or
so
all those emotions.
Yeah, because in the text before we get into the studio, they have the writers, the translators and the writers, and so they will go through the J version and with a fine-tooth comb see what is sad, what is anxious, what the intention is, and they'll write it in the box of notes next to the line, circle this word, or react as if being punched in the gut, or
Exactly.
They will give these little beautiful blueprint notes with the dialogue. So because usually when we go in there, we don't know what's going on. They have to give us a synopsis of the scene and of the story, and then we have a couple of times where we watch the J version with the English text on the other screen, just to get a sense of the timing and how things need to flow. And sometimes we hear the other characters' English, which helps. A lot of the times we don't.
Right, because you don't have to be all together.
Correct.
Right. Okay. Right. That's good. And you do all that in a studio? Well, pre-pandemic, right?
Yeah, pre-pandemic, it was all in the studio. And the times that we were together in the same booth with like 5 headsets with one mic was whenever we were doing Walla sessions, which is usually the crowd scenes. But usually it's just one person in the booth, the engineer and the director on the other side of the glass. Nice. And sometimes the director is also in the cast, so the director can give insight. In fact, when I did Chronos Ruler, Jerry Jewell actually was the director for it. He was also the lead voice for Chronos Ruler, and I was voicing the character that was his mother. And so there was a scene where it was a highly emotional scene where he realizes this is his mother, and she's about to disappear out of this makeshift world where the time had stopped of the point in his childhood. And it's a rather emotional moment. And I was blessed that he had just recorded his portion of that scene before I came into the booth. So he was already in that mindset. He already knew how he wanted things to go and to sound and to feel. And in fact, even over headset, he called me mom. I went, oh my gosh, just put a whole bunch of lot of feelings on this.
Of course.
So he wouldn't refer. So on that particular scene, he called me mom. He's like, okay, listen, mom, we need to do this and this and this. I went, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God.
He's into it.
He's already into it, and he's directing it, and he's on the other side of the glass. So it helped.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, so it helped a lot with that when you know that the directors and the engineers are so invested into the production, it just helps elevate you to match that.
So I have another question. What will be the project that you feel more proud of?
I would have to say Katana Maidens. I'm pretty proud of that one, as well as Kimono Friends. And the reasons are similar, although the performances are very different. For Katana Maidens, I will admit there were moments where it was not my best work. I will admit that, where things didn't quite match up, and I take ownership of that for me.
Yes.
But it was happening in a time in my personal life where things were just very, very shaken and unsteady. And having that project and having to voice the character of Minato really helped me through that time in my life. It was like Minato was sort of that lighthouse for me. So anytime I said Minato's words of encouragement to her daughter in that sort of dream-like field wherever she would go when she was asleep, it was like those words of wisdom were just kind of hitting me when I needed to hear it. And especially during playback, when we would hear, just to make sure things synced up correctly, they would just hit me a different way. And I would even ask them, it's like, do we have time for me to do another round at that or another take at that? Because it hits me differently now that I hear it. And they said, yeah, sure, let's try it again. And so we would try it again. And it just had a different weight to it at that time when I needed it. So I'm pretty proud of that one because of just what I was going through at the time and the fact that I was able to still do that and have it be an immediate feedback for me to keep going. And then Kimono Friends was just so much fun. Again, it was during very much the same time, a little bit later, but during the same time of my life where things were shook. But it was with Sound Cadence, and they were so wonderful, and it was so much fun. And I was really proud of just the chemistry we all had, even though we weren't always there at the same time. But they were very giving and of making sure that we were having a time, and I'm really proud of the product of that, because American Beaver, she's cute. She's so cute. And I was so happy to have her. I was like, oh my God, she's cute.
I know. By the way, do you go to like Comic Cons, or you go like to give autographs of your characters or anything like that?
No, I've not yet had that chance. I would love to. In fact, when Kimono Friends came out, there was talk on Twitter, and I joined Twitter just because Monica, not Monica, I'm sorry, I'm blanking on her name, but the members of Sound Cadence, they said, hey, we're about to announce you. If you're not on Twitter, you might want to get on it. And I went, oh, okay. So I got on Twitter specifically for the announcement of Kimono Friends, and it was so interesting, just the amount of love from the community, the anime community, and the original lovers of Kimono Friends, that community, when they saw that I was on Twitter, and they were like, oh my gosh, you know. Cool. And of course, and there was even a petition to have all the cast members of Kimono, both the original Japanese actors as well as the American dub actors, together at their Japari Park, or the park for kimono friends that celebrates kimono friends there in Japan. And they got like so many signatures, but then the pandemic hit. So
Yeah, I know.
so that would have been a beautiful, like, my first foray into the convention world, going to Japan.
That would be pretty amazing. And you know what? I think you're gonna do it, and I'm gonna see you there, hopefully in one of those
Yes.
conventions, and I'm gonna ask for an autograph and a photo.
Yes,
For
claiming
sure.
that.
Because I watched a little bit of that performance you did for the North American Beaver. It's so cute. And also I watched a scene from Minato in Katana Maiden.
Yes.
Oh my god, it's so different. Like that range that you work, it's super cool.
Thank you.
Which character that you voice is the one that you identify the most, Elisa?
It's split between two. One is North American Beaver from Kimono Friends, because how anxious she is, and just how much of a planner she is. She'll plan and plan and plan and plan and make models of models and models of models and models of models before actually executing her plan. I felt very attacked with that, because I do that. I tend to do that. I tend to over plan, and I think that's like left over from my stage management life, where you plan and plan and plan and plan, and yeah. So that's half, and the other half is from this independent pilot that I did for my friend Mike McAllister when everything shut down with the pandemic. He couldn't produce film the way he wanted to, so he taught himself animation. So he did these drawings and did a couple independent shorts. And he asked me, he said, "Hey, I have this pilot. I really think it would be great to voice this character, Sarah." And
I saw it. Yeah, on YouTube.
Yeah, brain teasers. And so, and so when I read the pilot, I said, this is the other part of me. This is that cynical, satirical, dry wit part of me. And so it's the combination of North American Beaver and Sarah are those that I identify with most.
That's amazing. And I ask this because especially these characters from the anime world, from Japan or from that culture, it has, or especially on my case, it had a very important impact when I was a kid. It's not like Disney or Warner Bros. Or this is different. This is like a more kind of characters that you would watch whenever you were a kid or a teenager or an adult, and they mark a very important moment in your life. I remember the first one I saw in Mexico City. It was one called in Mexico City. It was called Remy. He was like a poor kid, and he was having a really bad time, and he was adopted. He was looking for his mom all around the world, especially in Europe. It was super dramatic, like super, and a lot of like Sandy Bell and Candy. Like I think they have a different name in the US, but oh my god, it was like super different, super human, a lot of emotions.
Yeah, they did not shy away from human emotions. They did not shy away from the expression of human emotions and flaws. And that's what I loved too. I remember my first anime. I don't remember the name of it, but I can tell you what it was about. It was like it was Bible based, which I found weird, but it was Bible based in the sense that it was all the Bible stories.
Wow.
and they would go through a lighthouse, like it was this magical lighthouse that would go back in time with all these different Bible stories. And I remember there was the one story where Jesus cast out these demons and they went into the pigs.
Oh, wow.
And it scared the living daylights out of me. just the way they drew these demons. I went, oh, what is this? But then I would also, as soon as that was done, then I'd also watch, Voltron,
of
or
course. Messenger
or Thundercats.
Yeah, because even though Thundercats is a US production, it has a lot of Japanese artists.
Yes, it has a huge influence. Gundam, I would watch Gundam. I even watched as I got older, watched Akira. That one, and
Spirit
there was
Away.
Another one. Yes, love Studio Ghibli.
Studio, yes.
Love it. Yes. And so, but it just had all these wonderful emotions that Disney would try to do, but it just didn't. It isn't the same. It's a different.
It's a different feel. I would say it's deeper. It's more realistic because I don't know. It's just unique. It's just unique, and it opened your eyes into a whole nother world and level of sadness or repression around the world. And there's a lot of very interesting, intense aspects of the culture that maybe you won't understand at that time. And then they mix sci-fi. Oh my God, it's just amazing. They are amazing writers and animators. I mean, they put their soul and blood into it. So
with the symbology of all the art that they put in there, it's wonderful. One of my goals is to voice a character in a production similar to like Cannon Fodder or similar to Attack on Titan.
Ooh, that would be amazing.
I would love the chance to do a character on a show similar to that, because there's so much depth to that. It's more than just the gore that you see like on the first episode. It's more than that. It's deeper than that. So
that's amazing. Cool. So now during this pandemic, how's your day by day? Like, what's your what do you do? What's your like routine? Or
well, when everything first shut down, I had to figure out what to do next. Like everybody else, I was just kind of, okay, this is new. So what do we do? But then as I unburied myself like everyone else, I just started just asking myself, okay, well, this is a reset button. What is it that I want to reset? And so I just started taking a good long look at what I wanted to reset and upgrade and elevate. So now my day-to-days are vocalizing every day, just keeping my voice in shape.
Course.
I audition every day. My wonderful agent, Bankston Talent, they send me wonderful auditions, both film and voiceover. I also have an agent in LA who sends lots of wonderful voiceover. I recently got Source Connect, so now I'm able to do even more auditions for that. And then just taking care of my mental health is huge. Making sure that I engage with nature, just outside, getting sun, getting wind, just doing that. And keeping my mind sharp, my imagination sharp, rather than getting glued into TV or doom scrolling on my phone. I purposely deleted my Facebook. I used to have Facebook. I no longer have it. It's not just the app. It's like my profile is gone. I'm not on Facebook.
Okay, good. That's good.
So it just got really, really bad. So I needed to delete it. And then just taking, I used it to take opportunities to, like I said, keep my imagination sharp. So reading more, reading more novels, getting that imagination going, and then been taking online acting classes with Identity School of Acting, and they're based out in England in the UK.
Nice.
And so, yeah, and I had been following that school for a long time. And when, I think back in 2016, 2015, something like that, they opened up an LA branch, and I thought, oh my gosh, I'm going to try and go out there, for that. But that never really materialized for me to go out there and study with them. So when the pandemic happened, they moved all their classes online. I thought, ooh, this is it. I'm going to get in with Identity. And so I auditioned and I got in, and I've been with Identity since the summer of 2020.
Very cool.
And so 2 days a week, I train with them. So that's keeping my imagination sharp. And it's also been elevating my voice acting. And so now my voice has changed. And so now during the days, I just play and explore, where is my voice sitting now? Who is coming through now? Because as we get older, our voices change, obviously in puberty for both boys and girls.
Right.
And then life changes happen. Like for women, it's usually like giving birth during the childbearing years, things like that. But even life events change your voice because they change your perception of reality.
Right.
So of course you're going to have a different color coming through on your voice. And so I've been having fun just exploring, where is my voice sitting now? Whose truth I can confidently express now, because it's different than what I used to do before.
Got it.
And so now I'm seeing different characters are starting to materialize through where, I had the upper range for American Beaver. I may not have that upper range as much now because it doesn't fit with where I'm at now, if that makes sense.
Yeah, totally.
And so I may end up being more of a matriarch kind of character, or the stronger, more superhero character, rather than the anxious one. So
totally see that. And you talk about your voice, which is great, but then there's also the person, like the actress. And just for the audience to know that, I mean, you played Yolanda Saldívar, the killer of Selena Quintanilla, among other characters. I saw your reel. If you want to talk about that. And the other question that I have is, how do you see the city of Dallas as an opportunity for actors to be on film festivals? Because I know it's growing little by little. It's not there yet, but I mean, it's little by little, So tell us a little bit about that.
So going back to the first one with Yolanda, that was through Murder Made Me Famous, where they did the sort of bio episode, reality TV documentary kind of thing. And they wanted to showcase Yolanda rather than Selena, but you can't separate the two. They go hand in hand. And so that was an interesting experience, because a lot of people after the fact, when the episode aired, they asked me, so did you interview Yolanda? Did you go to the prison? Oh, no, I did not. I did not, because one, I don't think they would have allowed it because she's still in solitary confinement. But two, just knowing how they were going to do the production of it, it would have helped, but it would not have come through because of the way that I knew how they were going to edit it. So I wanted to go through it from my own lens of investigating why she went down this road. And so I did my research. Because I remember when Selena died. I was in college when it happened. And so I'm fully aware of what happened, and even the trial afterward. And so I just went online and found some old transcripts from the trial, and even character testimonies from Yolanda's family, and trying to piece together why she would do that and why she would respond the way that she did in murdering Selena. And to this day, I still don't know why, but what I found was a dark place, a dark human. And it was interesting. It was a very interesting journey. I watched a lot of cartoons after every day of filming.
Yes. I see that.
Because but I did, rather than judge her, because I do have strong feelings regarding Yolanda, and the tragedy of what happened with Selena. I did go through in my research of Yolanda and the approachment of that role with a lens of non-judgment and compassion. Just so that way I can tell the most truthful story that I could about Yolanda, but also about Selena. And so I didn't want to color with my own judgment.
Right.
And because that's really not the actor's place.
Right.
We are, as actors, we are a conduit, and we allow the audience to make their own judgments on it.
Wow. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. And so to your question about City of Dallas as an opportunity for actors in film festivals, there's great potential for it. It's just the tapping into that potential and to really having a focused push for that. Because yes, we have AFI, there's also DIFF, there's also USA Film Festival, and those are all great. We get some great content coming in, but there's also these other film festivals surrounding in the DFW Metroplex, like in Denton and in Arlington and and everywhere else. It's just a way of garnering that enthusiasm out of a hobby mindset and into more of professional, this is what we're here to do. We have something to say. And I think a lot of younger or newer to the film industry people are coming in with the hobby mindset, the hobby and the hustle. What I call the hobby and the hustle. They do a lot of the hustle for the hobby. But it's, if you're going to do the hustle, you got to back up that work, and you got to go past the fact that it's a hobby. There needs to be a bit more investment into the work.
Yes.
For that, and just going around asking the questions, how to do a site survey, how to get the paperwork ready, how to do, and also to invest in your crew and invest in the quality of the work. You don't necessarily have to get like a lot of equipment. You can record off of your phone. iPhones now record in 4K. So so, and you can download an app to edit it, to do a quick edit for something. It's just adding in, getting the people who are what I would like to say, like getting people who are smarter than you, and then listening to them to really push forward on garnering that potential and making it a powerful force.
Yeah, totally understand. Because just like you, there's a lot of great actresses and actors, and not even that. It's also artists like painters, muralists. I know several musicians. And they're amazing. It's just a matter of the city to push that more into it, or invest into that. I mean, obviously we're in a very weird moment now, but little by little, I think Dallas is going to be in a good place. It's in a good place. Obviously, It's not LA. I mean, LA is
Yeah,
a different world, but
I remember before the pandemic, before pre-COVID,
Mhm.
there was a push for the city of Dallas to find creative people to go into the different departments of the city of Dallas in their organizations to help those department heads, like say Department of Housing, Department of Culture, Department of, whatever, in the city of Dallas, in city council, to for creatives to go in and help them find a different viewpoint of whatever problems that are there. So they're starting to see the value of the creative mindset.
yes.
It's they're it's like they're like the little engine that could. It's like, come on, buddy, you can do it.
Yes.
It's like it's almost as if they don't quite see the return yet. It's like, no, you got to see the value first. The return will always be there.
Yeah.
So
Mhm. Cool. And talking about music, what's your favorite music genre?
I have a rather eclectic taste. I don't have like one genre that I stick to.
Because I can whatever you tell me, I can use it for the background of this episode.
Okay. Okay. So, my favorite music. Oh gosh.
It's difficult, right?
It is difficult. It's a difficult. It's because I do have eclectic taste. Like for instance, there are moments where I absolutely need to listen to 1950s doo-wop.
Yes.
There are times when I have to listen to jazz. There are times when I have to listen to dubstep. Like I have to listen to metal. I have to listen to punk.
Punk rock.
And like old school punk. Not some of these newer punk guys that think they're punk. No,
80s.
I'm talking old school
80s.
punk.
Yes.
Yes, we're talking like the Ramones. We're talking like Soho, legit Soho.
Yes. I have a lot of bands that I love. Maybe not a lot of people know that I like punk, but I do love punk. It's just
Yeah. Yeah. And so, I do listen to metal, like I said, and I do listen to, I listen to opera. Like I mean, I was a stage manager in opera for a while, so of course I've listened to opera. And so I've gotten to know the genre of opera and classical pretty well. I love it. Like Donizetti and Puccini.
Of course.
Some Mozart, not a whole lot of Wagner. Wagner can be a little much for me. But yeah, I guess to nail it down, 80s hair metal.
Cool. Got it.
We're talking like Dokken, Scorpions, Def Leppard. I mean,
I particularly love synthwave. Like it's
yes,
that electronic kind of like retro, kind of like the soundtrack of Stranger Things.
Yes. My gosh, that is.
I was listening to synthwave before Stranger Things and all that because it was big, at least for me. And it's just big. I love it. Anyways, yeah.
Yeah, total 80s synthwave. Oh my god.
That's super cool. It's good to know.
And Elisa, any message that you want to say to the people that are listening?
Follow your voice. Follow your sound. Just know your voice so well, and don't let anybody shut you up. I mean, because people are going to tell you you're going to be too loud. Okay, be louder. People are going to tell you you're going to be too brash. Okay, be brasher. Somebody's going to tell you talk too softly. Well, make sure they listen. So it's definitely your voice is. It everybody talks about their looks, especially on Instagram. It's all about the looks, but it's like, no, I want to know your voice. I want to know your voice tells me your history. Even at those 3 a.m. talks, that tells me your history. That tells me who you are. So embrace and explore your voice in all of its faults, in all of its crackling, in all of its changes, because you can't escape the changes. The changes are going to come, but your voice will always be there. Let it be loud. Let it be crackly. Let it be whatever it needs to be. Just let your voice just ring throughout. Don't ever shut up.
Because voice, it's so important nowadays. It's great. That was amazing. Thank you so much. I wish we had more time because we can be here for hours, right?
I know, we could totally geek out on stuff.
And by the way, that the Lion King, it's called Kimba. That Japanese anime cartoon was actually from the 60s, 70s. It was not 80s.
Kimba?
It's Kimba.
Okay, I'm going to have to look for that.
It's pretty much a ripoff from Disney. So I'm going to just let it...
Okay. Because I know a lot of the storyline mimics also Hamlet, but I didn't realize that there was an anime Kimba before there was a Simba.
It's the same story.
Ooh.
Almost like yeah. It's crazy. The uncle, the dad that passed away. It's everything.
That's almost like with Hunger Games. That's because before that was Battle Royale, which is way harsher than Hunger Games.
Oh yes. No. It was intense. Super intense. Oh my god. It was so amazing. Thank you so much. And believe me, even though I just met you, I can tell that you shine like a real gem. Believe me.
Oh, thank you.
Believe me, and I know that we're gonna stay in touch for sure.
Yes.
Thank you very much, really, for your time, and thank you, Eduardo, for being here as always.
Thank you for inviting me again to be your wingman. Thank you, and see you next time.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for having me.
And we'll see you next time.
Yes.
Bye-bye.
Bye.